Hi, welcome to Family Access Network's Tea with an Advocate. This video series is bringing fan school tours to you. If this is your first time joining us for Tea with an Advocate, welcome. And if you are returning to watch this series again, thank you for joining us again. This video series you can watch at home, during school, at work, and it's our opportunity to educate you on the hard work that our advocates do every day across Deschutes, Crook, and Jefferson counties. We have 26 advocates in 62 school sites in those three counties, and these advocates work tirelessly to connect students to the crucial resources. They are the heart of the organization, and we want you to learn from them about the amazing services they provide. So let's jump on in to Tea with an Advocate. Today's guest is Tammy Gates. So we are doing Tea with an Advocate today with Tammy Gates. Welcome, Tammy.
Thank you for having me. Yes, it's great to be here.
Good. Since this is Tea with an Advocate, what lovely little tea or coffee beverage are you having today?
Well, I carry around this coffee mug with me every day because my daughter-in-law did the graphics for a coffee company in Alaska. So I don't see them very often, so I get to have my mug with me.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so we do Tea with an Advocate to get to know our amazing advocates. There are 26 of you, and each of you has unique stories and backgrounds, and we want to get to know you and kind of why you do what you do, and kind of some of the critical work that you do. So let's just jump on in, and can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been married for about 33 years. I have two sons. My youngest and his wife live in Alaska, and he's a teacher. My oldest son, Dalton, he lives in Portland, and as soon as things settle down with COVID, he's getting married.
Congrats.
So, yeah. So, yeah, and I've been in Central Oregon for about 35 years now. Yeah. Yeah.
And where did you grow up prior to that?
Well, my parents actually both grew up in Culver, but went away for a while my dad attended college. And then after he got out of college, he got a job overseas on the South Island in New Zealand and was working on Manapori, which is a power plant. And I was born in New Zealand. So by the time we came back to Central Oregon, I was in 7th grade, and I ended up graduating from Culver High School. And then later on, my husband and I, after we had the boys, left for a little bit so I could go to Western Oregon University. And then we came back to Redmond.
Oh, awesome. There is a theme with some of the advocates of being in Central Oregon, going away, and then coming back. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of goes to you contributing what you do to our community.
Yeah,
I think that's a
definitely.
good segue into the work, diving into what you do with FAN.
Mhm.
What schools are you at, and how long have you been an advocate?
Well, I'm actually at Elton Gregory Middle School and Obsidian Middle School here in Redmond. I've been an advocate since 2006, so about 15 years. I was extremely lucky to get this job. When we moved back to Redmond in 2002, I came back with a degree in psychology, but I really I wanted to work within the school district so I could be closer to my sons and have their schedule. And so I started out as an educational assistant. Then, and at that time, that was great. But I had never heard of FAN, and I met the FAN advocate that worked in my school, and she was awesome. And I just thought this program was amazing. I was so interested in social work and helping families. And it was honestly the best of both worlds, being able to help students and families.
Mm.
So when an opportunity came available, I applied, and I was so lucky I got the job, and I started at Elton Gregory. And then a year later, I was able to go full time and work at Obsidian too. Yeah.
That's great that you kind of have different age groups to be working with, and I'm sure you see that in itself provides unique experiences with it.
Well, it was funny because when I got my first job in the middle school, I was nervous. Middle school kids are a whole nother group of kids and ages and everything they go through. And so, but I've loved it. I've just always been in the middle schools. So it's been great.
Oh, wonderful. Can you share any stories that have been of impact, or in kind of what keeps you um, being with and staying an advocate for the last 15 years?
Well, I think I stay working with FAN because I just work with this amazing team of people, and everybody strives to improve the lives of families. And there's so much collaboration between all of us, whether it's advocates or staff. And we're so unique. There's no other organization like us, and every day is unique. So I just think I do it to be able to hopefully make a difference, whether it's big or small. And then I do have a special story that kind of always sticks out for me. It was quite a few years ago. I was working with a mom who she truly was just emotionally broken. Her marriage had ended, yet she was having to live with her in-laws, she and her daughter. They were not kind to them at all, and basically told them every day that they weren't wanted. And so, of course, this mom, she had no confidence at all in herself. She was working two jobs though, and just she couldn't afford rent, but she was almost a little afraid to leave. I mean, that's the kind of situation she was in. Um, and then she would just come in my office and she'd be sobbing. She was just very broken. But I think the turning point for her was her daughter was extremely depressed and just felt so much despair over their living situation that mom became a little more open to, okay, what can we do to improve the situation? And it didn't happen overnight. It took quite a long time of working with her. The first time I mentioned Bethlehem Inn as an option, she was quite worried that her daughter wouldn't be happy about living there. So what we did was the three of us sat down and her daughter was like, yes, I want to try something different. I'm so unhappy. And they got an opening at Bethlehem Inn. Mom applied. She made a plan and she packed up her things and went to Bethlehem Inn with her daughter. And her daughter loved it there. They had food, they had their own room. Nobody was mean to them. And the daughter could still go to school. They had transportation for her. So that was such a relief to her mom, to see this girl start to smile and get involved with school and build some confidence in herself. And then the great thing about Bethlehem Inn is it's this wonderful stepping stone to something else. And they were able to get into low income housing in Redmond. And it was just a really exciting time for them. And her daughter could walk to school. And it was just a great experience for that family. And it's kind of one of my favorite stories.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's you could tell that you're very passionate about what you do just through that storytelling of that, and it's touching that not only did you talk about the family as the whole, not on just the student specific level, but keeping those families together and happy and thriving is going to make everyone more successful. You mentioned Bethlehem Inn as a critical stepping stone in with this specific story. Partnerships are so crucial to what we do. I mean, network is in our name. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit more, and who you work with frequently and kind of the partnerships on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I tell you what, that is such a loaded question for me because we have these wonderful, wonderful partners. I mean, Bethlehem Inn is amazing. What would we do without them? And then I have just this one little thing to mention. During this time that we've been in with COVID and everything, I almost feel like our community is one big partner. People have just done all this outreach and working together to help us support families with food and help them sustain. It's just been so amazing during this time. And so, you know, that's just such a wonderful piece that has happened within a very difficult time. But also there's just so many other partners that we work with all the time. Like here in Redmond, we have the Redmond Realtors. They're amazing. They help us with food for families and coats for kids. They're very passionate about reaching out for fan and helping our families. And then not to mention Jericho Road for food and rent and Thrive and St. Vincent de Paul Assistance League. There are just so many. And like you said, it's like it's all a puzzle. And if we lose one of those partners, it's like we can't accomplish our goals because they all just piece together. And some days you only need a couple pieces, and then other days you need to complete the whole puzzle to help a family. So they are all just amazing. And like I said, no 2 days are alike. So one day I may just talk to one of them, and some days I'm bringing in the troops, you know. So yeah, so they're great. Yeah.
I love your sentiment about, like, especially right now, it's not only the organizations, but the communities as the whole. It's
Mhm.
seeing everyone rally behind supporting students in this very, very challenging time is kind of overwhelmingly touching,
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
how everyone has stepped up to the plate and helped those in need, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of any last thoughts that you want to share with us about kind of what you've learned along the way, any nuggets of wisdom or anything?
I guess I would say if I had any nuggets of wisdom, I would say believe in each other, you know, work together. Don't take people at face value. You know, everyone's got a story, and just be kind to each other. You know, I've learned so much with this job, especially that listening is more than just using your ears.
Mm,
You really need to listen to people, and um, you just you know, this job you really care about people and as human beings, and we all work together. Fan is amazing. It's just unique and amazing. So yeah.
well, Tammy, we so appreciate, oh my gosh, 15 years of being an advocate. That is a huge dedication, and it really kind of demonstrates the how big of a heart that you have and the empathy that you have for families and students in Redmond and in Central Oregon. And we appreciate everything that you have done. And thanks for joining me for tea
Yeah.
today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Tammy, for joining me for tea today. And for everyone that stayed and listened to our lovely little video series, we appreciate you taking the time to learn more about FAN. We can't do what we do in our community without all of our supporters, partners, and of course, our amazing advocates. If you want to learn more about FAN, we do have a website. It's familyaccessnetwork.org. And we are on social media on Instagram and on Facebook. We could be found, and our handle is @Family Access Network. Until next time, thank you for your support.